We're going to start by driving down through the floor, squeezing in through our knees. Okay. Hands at your hips, pushing in, and driving those shoulder blades down. So from here, one vertebrae at a time, we're going to slowly take our neck flexion. Find that collarbone. Straight to the left. Try to take it a little bit further. And then tilt back. Scrape the chin across the sky, keeping the jaw closed. The right. Around, find that right collarbone. Scrape back to center. You look like a really interesting dance troupe. Scrape to the right. Looking back, up and over the top. And down and forward. So on this next one, really try to focus on keeping those guys where they are. Okay. So if your elbows are raising up, I want you to feel, try to keep your palms flat on your hips. Okay. So if you start to feel pinky lifting off, we're likely shifting up into here. Got it. And then remember, we're trying to find flexion through every single vertebrae. So give me double chin. Not with your jaw though. There you go. Pull back just a little bit there. You feel the difference in that stretch sensation? Okay. So let's get back into this position, and then each time we get to another extreme, right before we change position, so we're scraping to the left, pause, see if you can eke out just a tiny bit more range of motion. And then slowly start to shift back. Again, see if you can take just a tiny bit further, as long as you're not experiencing anything close to equal. Scrape it up over the top. I mean, Lawrence knows this. Ross knows this, but for the purpose of the recording and the future people who are going to be taking this class, we never move through pain. The most obvious example of closing ankle joint pain comes usually from the neck or the shoulder. And what we're hoping to avoid is if I'm feeling stretch sensation over here, this is fantastic. If I'm feeling a pinch on this side or a closing angle like I'm running out of room, that's what we want to avoid. Okay, so into our spine card, we're going to cross our arms over. You're going to try to find the back. If you can get to the shoulder blades, fantastic. If not, not a big deal. We're going to slowly, one vertebrae at a time, squeeze your butt so that you don't shift back. Push down through the toes. Find that Quasimodo spine. Take those elbows across to the left. Point them just outside of the left knee. Slowly side bend into that left side. Extending back, staying tilted and rotating to the left. Up and over the top, making sure not to lead with the head. All the way to the right. Side bend into the right. All the way around, forward and to the right. Scrape to center. We're going to reverse. Point those elbows right outside our right knee. Side bend into that right side. That's going to be really important today. Start to rotate back. Find that extension and rotation and side bend to the right, all the way up, over the top, side bend to the left, around, and forward. Oh, okay, we're only going to do one, and I want you to keep that one logged in your memory because when we go back for it, it's going to be significant. So we're going to come down to our cat-cow. And we'll go into shoulder blades in just a second. So in this position, find whatever your neutral is. So hands are right under your shoulders, knees are right under your hips. From here, I want you to find flexion. So if you remember what we felt in that very first class, where you started to pull through each section of the six pack, start by tilting the waistband up. So other way. There you go. All the way through until you find that flexed spine. In that flexed spine now, I want you to start becoming very aware of your shoulder blade. So we're going to do shoulder blade cars in this flexed spine position. So pulling the shoulder blades back towards our ears, keeping your spine flexed. This should feel real straight. Slide the shoulder blades down your back, keep those abs nice and tight. Push the floor away, protract those shoulder blades. Take them as far apart as you can take them. Slide up towards your ears. Slide them back. It's like pulling your rib cage towards the floor, but also maintain the crunch. Slide them down your back. push the floor away. Slide them up, hold them down. So now find a nice little neutral. Keep pressure into the floor. And now we're going to go into extension. So tilt the waistband back up towards the ceiling, pulling that tailbone one vertebra at a time, all the way through where we're going to make awkward eye contact at the top here for extension.
Got it.
So here, hold this, and we're doing shoulder blade cars again.
Okay.
So holding extension, pull your shoulder blades up towards your ears.
Okay.
Pull them up towards the ceiling, maintain that extension. Don't fall forward.
Okay.
Hold down your back. Push the floor away.
Oh.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
Now pull up towards your ears. Down towards pull the shoulder blades up towards the ceiling, but your abs are still tight, your postural muscles are still tight. Down your back, push the floor away. So all of this is the intention of making sure that when you do your cat-cow, you are intimately aware of what your shoulder blades are doing.
Got it.
So now let's find neutral again. Push down through the floor. We're going to go through cat-cow one last time, but I want you to really be tuned into where your shoulder blades are. Okay. So let's go to flexion first. So pull the waistband underneath. All the way through, belly button's going up to the ceiling, making sure though that your shoulder blades are not protracting hard into the floor as we get to flexion. So from here, tailbone starts. We're very slowly spilling the water up our spine. All the way through mid-back, holding those hinge points, those spots that move too much. All the way through into a nice extended spine. And tuck under again. So start with the waistband, find those abs.
Okay.
Peel all the way through. Back to flexion. Oh. Okay. We're going to come back to our kneeling posture again. And we're going to finish with our shoulder blades, elbows, and shoulders, elbows, and wrists. So let's go to collapse kneel. So tuck your toes underneath, sit your heels to your butt. Is that okay on your ankles?
It's okay.
You can also flip this way. Okay. Is that all right? That's fine. Okay. So we're going to take left hand. We're going to reach into our right pocket. We're going to lock that in. Okay. Right hand with a closed fist is going to go up and across our body. Start to reach up. And I think I just realized that I am not recording on the actual camera. Oh, great. Well, this is going to be a Zoom recording. Slowly start to reach back. Slowly start to externally rotate. Bring that fist back up. Coming close bicep to ear. Start to externally rotate a little bit further and bring that arm all the way across your body. So now the palms up is palms up. There you go. And then we're reversing. So now really starting to tune in again to what your spine wants to do. Okay. If we've gone too far, rib cage is lifting or rotating out, that is spine doing shoulder fence. Got it. Right? So let's drive that arm all the way across our body. Keep that pressure in that front pocket. Bicep to ear, as far as you can go without any sort of negative sensations. Rotate, dump the water bottle out. Don't lean. Remember, just shorten up the range of motion just a little bit. Okay. All the way through to that front pocket, and then reverse. All the way up, and around. Whew. Okay, so good?
Next side.
Other side. So again, reach into that pocket. We're kind of almost over exaggerating a twist so that you feel when you try to pull out of that. And close that fist, start to radiate tension. Drive that hand across your body as far as you can take it. All the way up. Bicep to ear, internally rotate. So remember, at this point, elbow should be straight. Core is tight, head is forward.
Yep.
Okay. Dump that water bottle out. All the way around. Land at your side. Reverse. way up. Around. That pocket. Palms up over here. There you go. Remember, you should be able to see the key as it goes across the front of your body. Good. Yep. There you go. Rotate is nice and square. Yep. Straight back. Hit that logical endpoint right there. Yep. Externally rotate. Don't twist though. So if as you externally rotate, you come out a little bit. That's fine. Okay. Up. Here. You should be able to spot the key. There's the key. There it is. Okay. The key that we're referring to is the tattoo on his forearm right there. That would allow us to just kind of have a landmark. So with all of these things, when you're establishing rotation, and Lawrence knows this, but when you're establishing rotation, it's nice to have landmarks closer to where the joint that we're trying to work, rather than just your hand, right? Because I can do a lot of things that have nothing to do with my shoulder, between my wrist, my elbow, up to then my shoulder. So what we want to do, the tattoos work really well because you can kind of see as they peek in and out that the shoulder is rotating. Okay, so let's go to elbows. Pin those elbows to our sides. Start to bicep curl up. The air is now thick all the way through. Pinkies are pointing at the armpits. Slowly start to spin palms forward. Drive down. Lawrence, to make this more relatable for you, like treacle. You know, here we might say maple syrup. Palms up. Spin over. Drive down. Spin it open. Pull up. Good. Flip it over and drive back down. Ooh, that's a nice crack. Okay. Onto our wrists. We're going to do both at the same time. Then open palm, tilt pinkies in towards each other. Pull into wrist extension. Tilt thumb side. Peel up. Pinky side and down. Thumb side and up. Pinky side and down. Again, making sure with that landmark, birthmark or scar or vein, something like that, that you can see the whole time. Like if you had writing on your wrist, you could read it the entire time. Even though you are doing all kinds of stuff like this, the writing is still incredibly legible across the top of your wrist. Cool? Mm-hmm. Okay. So with all of the stuff that we've been working on, we're going to slowly start to expand now lateral flexion. So these guys, we're going to go straight to the side initially. And then from there, we're going to start to work into flexion and side bends, and then extension and side bends. So for you guys at home, a wall, a chair, a desk, something that would allow you to find a degree of lateral flexion like this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get you a dowel, okay, so that you can stay right in front. And it still doesn't feel like you can stay in this for the full 2 minutes, okay, totally fine. And then we've got our tables and stuff there though. Thank you, sir. Yep. So we are going to come back to the ground. Actually, you could do this standing too. So what we're looking for, we're going to start on our right side, kind of like we're going to do a human flag, right? So dowel should be on your left. Dowel on the left. And then we're looking for that whole right side to open up. But what we want to do, which is part of the reason I like to do it kneeling, is the idea that you can find that segment more specifically. You can even do this seated, but the idea being that one vertebra at a time, you start to bow this side out. So if we were to look at the stick mobility stick as the bowstring, right? Mm-hmm. And then our body is the bow. So as we do this, we slowly start to bow the right side of our body away from the stick. Okay, so then we find a focal point of stress on that right side. And now we're going to add in a little bit of breath work. So for you, imagine I'm going to do this. You feel how I'm pulling you,
Yeah.
but I'm like keeping the hips where they are.
Ooh, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you guys at home, imagine I've taken you and I've pulled your rib cage towards me so that we can find a really nice strong stretch sensation. Door frame works really well for this because it's stable and you're not trying to hold it down in place. So
It's definitely great. There.
okay. So then I'm gonna have you go here just a little bit more.
Okay.
Is it on the side more a little bit
Yeah.
down? Okay. Yeah, because we'll get back there first, but I want you like straight on the side as best we can. Okay. So for a breath work standpoint, what we're going to do here is we're going to take a 5-second inhale. We're going to exhale for 5 seconds, and then we're going to hold it for 5 seconds. So it's a big deep breath in. Expand the right side of your body and exhale. We're going to hold 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5. One last big breath. Exhale. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5. So continue to relax in that stretch. You can bring the breath work to a little bit more of a natural breathing pattern. And if your arm is falling asleep, you can come down of it for just a second, and then we can get back into it again. Okay, so we're going to start our pails. And what our pails are going to do is the idea that it's trying to bend the stick more as if we could come up vertically again. Okay. And then our rails are going to squeeze us more into that oblique and bring us more into that side bend. Okay, so good, Lawrence has shifted over to the wall. The wall works really well for this. And then I've even had people work like this, where you can sink down towards the floor and it can feel a little bit more surgical in terms of hitting a very specific spot. So kind of getting into like, so for me right here, I feel a ton right through my, well, this is my left side, but left side rib cage, where it opens up a very specific spot, whereas the lateral bend with the down feels very global, right? It's the whole opening side of my spine. Both are perfectly fine, okay? So Lawrence, make sure that your right side, you're on your right arm, and then you're sinking the right side rib cage down towards the floor. Ready to do your pails?
Let's do it.
Okay, so in this nice bowed human flag position, we're going to start to squeeze where we feel the stretch. So starting to squeeze through that right side at 20%, to 40, to 60, 80, and your greatest, safest effort. As you notice, my breathing has changed significantly. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails. Squeeze. Bow the stretch even more. So now push your rib cage towards me. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax into that stretch. And this base position, like, so I am totally open to the idea of people changing base positions in between if you feel like you can find a better stretch. So what I'm going to have you try is I'm going to have you stand, because I know that angles can be pretty tough. I'm going to have you go, and so you can push into the wall, and then if you need more, you need to bring it lower. You can bring that leg under, and it'll really open up. It'll probably bring it down towards the hip a little bit more. So I'll put it in the camera a little bit so that everybody can see. I'm still salty for the fact that I didn't press record.
Okay, he's taking it out.
Okay, so we're going to run that same pails rail back again.
Am I lined up properly?
I'm sorry?
Am I lined up properly?
Feel good?
Yeah, I can feel it. Ooh, yeah, there it is.
Different.
Okay.
Okay. So In this nice big lateral bend. And then we're going to start our pails again. 20% pushing down, squeezing through that right side to 40, to 60, 80, and your greatest, safest effort. Safest is the operative word. So if you stopped at 40, you're still squeezing. That's okay. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails. Squeeze that left side and try to open up the right even further. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Breathe. Let that breathing come back to normal. And then we're going to slowly come out of that position. Especially with the spine stuff, it can be so tough to find and keep the stretch. So if you're finding that you keep losing the stretch, you can change base positions for this specific thing to make sure that you're getting everything out of it that you can. How do we feel? Good. Right side feel open?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like this whole thing is great.
Good. Beautiful. So we're going to switch on to our left side. Okay. So if the standing wall was the best option for you, that's fantastic. I'm going to give it another option with something like the table. It's a fun noise. So especially because leading the class, I always try to give as many options as we can. So something like this, where you're in a half kneeling position and reaching up, and you can sink into it a little bit more, will help you to kind of tune into your specific line of tension, because everybody's is going to be a little bit different, and that's one of the beautiful parts about something like this is we're looking to explore your capacity, not necessarily looking to recreate the exact position that Ross is in or the exact position that I'm in, because you might not feel anything in that position. So I'm going to go back to the dowel, but the table is perfectly fine, and even something like one more option. If you haven't already found the stretch, this is another way to follow. Something like this, where we've got our reformer, and then you use that base hand to create that lateral flexion sensation a little bit harder. So a desk, a bookshelf. In the previous virtual, we had one person using their kitchen counter, and that totally worked. They got a great stretch sensation and a ton of really, really hard work. So I'm getting a lot of very specific rib cage sensation right now. How are you feeling? Right through there? Perfect. So we're going to add that breath work in again. So now we're going for that 5-second inhale and a 5-second exhale. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-second inhale. 5-second exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 5-second exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-second inhale. 5-second exhale. Returning to your normal relaxed breathing, trying to really make sure we're bowing that stretch. We're going to start to do our pails. So remember, you're trying to, if you've got the bookshelf, you're trying to pull the whole bookshelf, the whole wall down with you. And your base hand, your right hand is trying to push you deeper into that stretch and bow the stretch even further. But your left arm and your left oblique are responsible for keeping you there. So ready? We're going to start to radiate tension through that left side. 20%. Ooh, this is a very specific sensation. 40%. 60%. 80%. And your greatest, safest effort. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails. Pull yourself deeper into that stretch. Squeeze that right side oblique. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax into that stretch. If you're getting tinglies through the top arm, you can come out for just a second, shake it off, and then get back in. Lawrence, everything all right? Edgar, everything okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Live over there?
Yes.
We're going to run it back. 20%. 40%. 60%. 80. And your greatest, safest effort. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails. Pull deeper. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Right oblique is screaming. 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax into that stretch. Let your breathing return to normal. Let your heart rate start to come down. And then you can slowly come out. Take your arm back. Take your spine back. Curl up into a ball for a second. Cry. You know, all of that is an acceptable response. How did that go? That's good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is called kinetic stretching. And the idea with kinetic stretching is to use the tissues that we just worked on, all of these side-to-side pulleys, to pull yourself from one side of the range of motion to the other. So at no point in time is the tension off until the entire set is over. Okay, and we're going to start with a neutral spine. What I mean by neutral in this case is static. And we can do this standing, we can do this kneeling, which we're going to do standing. Getting some of these toys out of the way. And back this guy up just a little bit. Okay. So this standing kinetic stretch, we're going to take our feet a little bit wider. You can actually move forward just so you've got kind of perspective from both of us. Got it. So standing kinetic stretch for lateral flexion. We're going to bring our arms across our chest. We're going to start flex all the way to our right. So close that right side down. Give me the best rolls you can give me on that side. Little plug for rolls and rehab. Okay, so that's Lawrence's company. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take 5 seconds, squeezing our left side, holding tension in our right, and we're going to go. It's going to look like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to keep pulling. We're going to switch to our right side, pull, 2, 3, 4, 5, switch. So we're going to do that for 5 reps. Does that make sense? So the idea that you are starting all the way here, you are keeping tension here. Yep. Squeezing through this side, shortening these muscles. Yep. Trying to go 1 vertebra at a time in that side bend. Find your end range within that 5 seconds. If you finish before the 5 seconds, that's okay. You're going to keep pulling. So if I were here, yep, and I'm pulling into you here, you're fighting. Okay. Like that. Yep. There you go. So now as you then switch, immediately the tension comes to this side, but this side holds. Okay. So it's just slow and controlled all the way back over here. We want to try to keep your hips as steady as you can. So we're not doing this. Yep, I hear you. Okay, so everybody ready? We're going to do 5 reps. So let's take those feet nice and wide, squeeze down through the floor, squeeze in towards each other. Okay. Trapping a little bit of air in our core, cross our arms over our chest. Let's start to our right. From here, let's start to build that tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch. 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 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch one last time. 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch. We're going to end on the left. 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Now get your heart rate up. Okay, so now we're going to do that in flexion. Okay. So we're going to find flexion. Actually, we're going to come back to this for just a second. I want to switch to the or pivot for just a second to a seated flexion and extension. You can do the seated or standing. You can have Ross sit. And what I want you to do is find, just like we did with our regular cat-cow, we're going to do this seated, tall, and then I'm going to show you standing. So these are going to be the two sides of the way that you can do this. And what Ross is going to do, I'm going to have him pivot to the side. You're going to start from your chin. You're going to tuck your chin down, and then you're going to slowly peel forward one vertebra at a time into a flexed spine. So pushing your spine out towards me. Let's go this way. Other way. There you go. All the way, all the way, all the way. Peel, and then let that pelvis kind of tilt. Feel a nice big stretch here. So now, tilt your pelvis first. Find these postural muscles all the way up into a nice extended spine, bringing your chest all the way to the ceiling. Now, if we're doing this standing, go ahead and you keep going for 2 more reps in this position. If we're doing this standing, it looks like this. We're going to go back to that. Peeling our spine forward into flexion, and then finding that pelvis, finding those postural muscles, and peeling ourselves all the way to extension. And then from the top down, so the chin, holding those postural muscles all the way down into a nice flexed spine, just before my butt pooches out, right? And then find that extension again. Holding that tension in the abs. So the reason we're doing this stuff, helping us to tune into 2 of the extremes of your spine parts, but we're also then going to work through flexion, extension, kinetic stretching, or excuse me, lateral flexion, kinetic stretching in both a flexed spine and an extended spine. So I'm going to have Ross pivot back to the front. This way. This works really well. So in your flexed spine, find that flexed spine position. So cross the arms over the chest, flex that spine forward, push your spine out towards the wall behind you. So remember not to let those shoulder blades come up. There you go. So right here. Now we're going to work through that same kinetic stretch. There and there. So in a flexed spine, finding those 2 endings. So before we do this, which is the rotation side, I just want to find flexion and extension, or lateral flexion to the right and to the left in a flexed spine. Okay, so again, we're going to do 5 reps here. So find your flexed spine, whether you're standing or sitting. Again, making sure that through this, we're not feeling anything painful. We should be feeling really nice, big stretches, lots of obliques, maybe even like an oblique cramp through this, and that's totally okay. What I don't want, though, is like when Ross is going this way, for him to have significant discomfort that feels like it's coming from his spine. But it should just be like a big right side opening stretch, okay? So 5 reps on my count. So we're going to start flex forward and to our right. From here, ready? Pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch. 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 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Now it gets really real. Now it's an extension. Go for it. So finding extension, finding this, all those postural muscles that run along the sides of your spine. And then in this extended spine position, we're going to find left and we're going to find right. Or a bird running into the window. That was not my spine exploding in this position. I don't know if you heard the bird hit the window. Okay, so let's find our extended spine. Again, it's on a 5 count. We start to our right. From here, squeeze. 2, 3, 4, 5. You should be on your left. Sorry. Right. Pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. 2, 3, 4, 5. And another way. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's a thing. It's a thing. Okay, so last but not least, the last really hard thing we're going to do, you're going to come up to standing. Or actually, I'll have you go, you can stand, I'm going to kneel, okay, just to show that return position to where we started. And what we're going to do is one last really, really good spine cars. Okay, so what I want you to tune into now is the sensation of pulling yourself into each extreme. So we're not just passively falling into flexion, we're not just tilting back into extension, and then every spot along the way, I want you to imagine the tissue that's on that side pulling you down into that position. Looking for each segment of your spine to move to its next logical extreme, obviously within reason, but the idea that it's a cumulative effect of every segment of your spine tilting or rotating or extending, okay? So I'm gonna come up to my tall kneeling position. We're gonna drive tension down through the floor. Toes are pushing down, heels are pushing down, quads, glutes, everything is squeezed. We're gonna cross our arms over our chest. We're gonna find those shoulder blades. Okay, from here, pull, start with your abs, pull into flexion as far down as you can take it. Then start going to your left, squeeze the left side tissue all the way. Start to pull into that left side bend. Now start to extend back, find those tissues on the back of your body, pulling into that left side, extension and rotation, and then pull into extension all the way across to the right side, side bend into the right, around to the front, and to center. Give yourself a tension check, breathe. Make sure you're breathing throughout this whole thing like you're throwing punches, right? It should be. The only reason you can still hear me talking while I'm doing this is I'm trying really hard to breathe, okay? So now again, find that flexion, find that tension. We're doing 1 rep. Pull to your right, squeeze those right side tissues. Side bend into that right. Start to extend back, keeping that tension on the right side. Squeeze. Now start to pull across. Find those postural muscles in extension, and then pull into that left side. Side bend into that left. Pull around. And finish center. Take a nice deep breath because that was hard. Okay, find your mat, get in a comfortable position. We're going to finish with some very, very gentle breath work, directing air to different areas of our core, tuning into all of those tissues that we just kind of really drove up the tone on, and we're going to slowly start to try to bring them down with some very specific but relaxing breath work. So find a relaxed posture. You can lay on your back. You can kneel. You can kind of do, you can sit in your chair, whatever feels comfortable for you. So as we do this, I'm going to have you put your hands in different places to try to feel those areas out as you inflate. So we're going to start with our hands on our belly. This is probably the most over-cued, and probably overused, but it's probably the most familiar now. So we're going to breathe into our belly. Find a nice, comfortable inhale and exhale. And with this, I want you to find both extremes. Take a big inhale, as much air as you can take in, and then drive every last little bit of air out.
Good. And a big inhale. And a big exhale. Okay. We're going to take our hands to our sides, to our obliques, like we're giving ourselves a little bit of a waist trainer. We're going to breathe into our sides. Big breath in. And big exhale. And big breath in. Big exhale. Big breath in. Okay, so now we're going to find our low back. So if you're on the floor, you can just use the floor as your feedback. If you are kneeling or sitting, you can put your hands on your low back. Big breath in.
Sometimes.
Feel that pressure increase into your hands. Big breath in. Big exhale. So now I want to find your upper back. What we're going to do with that is squeezing your abs just a little bit. So it's like your belly can't go out farther. We're going to try to direct air into your upper back rib cage. So a big breath into that upper back. Big exhale. Big breath into our upper back. Big exhale. One last time. Big exhale. Relax. Awesome job today. Thank you, Ross, for coming and being such a wonderful model and stage presence. Yep. And thank you, Lawrence and Edgar, for joining us. One thing that I would be remiss if I didn't mention is it's been brought up. I worked with a vocal and breathing coach to discuss kind of breathing mechanics. So when you breathe into your belly, you're not literally breathing into your belly. You are breathing into your lungs, of course. Your diaphragm is pushing down on your stomach contents and driving all of that stuff outward. You're not literally breathing air into different areas of your stomach. Lawrence knows this, Edgar knows this, Ross knows it. But as far as the recordings that are going out, I want to make sure that people feel comfortable with the idea that I am coaching a metaphorical breathing mechanic. It is not literally the idea that you are breathing into different areas of your stomach, because you don't really want to fill your air with your stomach air. But thank you guys so much. Hopefully I will see you next week. Next week, we are going to start to introduce rotation with some very specific isometrics that will be lots and lots of fun. So hopefully I'll see you. If you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email at ChironAHP@gmail.com. Thank you.